Now we are. Great. Fantastic. Okay. Now you're all being held accountable because you're all here. All right. Okay. Every soul possesses both feminine and masculine energy, and every soul tends to be more aligned to one core energy over the other and to attract a romantic partner who holds the opposing core pole energy. So the idea that opposites attract is absolutely true. Okay. Where we have issues in communication in our relationship is when one partner is forward in their masculine and the other partner is forward in their masculine. Okay. And we'll talk about what masculine and feminine a little bit here in just a moment. We have an enormous amount of conflict when both parties are forward in their masculine energy. Masculine energy at its core is direct, it's forward, it's decision-making, it's decisive, it's powerful, it's strong. Okay. Feminine energy, if we have two partners who are in feminine energy, nothing gets done. Okay? Because feminine energy is about flow, it's about fluidity, it's about emotion, it's about life. Super important that I make a distinction right here. Okay? Because the masculine energy is leading doesn't mean it's better than feminine. Do y'all hear me? Okay. It's not one or the other. Okay. No one's better than the other. That is a misnomer about polarity. Okay. There are times in which I have identified solely my core energy is masculine. Are there times when I step into my feminine energy? Yes. Paige has identified her core energy is feminine. Are there times when she steps into her masculine energy? Yes. Okay. But the vast majority of the time, the more polarized we are, the more our relationship becomes otherworldly. Okay. It's when both of us are in the same energy that we have problems. Okay. The same is true in communication. Okay. Romantic relationships are most aligned when one partner possesses the core masculine energy and one partner, I just said this, okay? One partner surrenders into the core feminine energy. There must be a giving energy and a receiving energy to remain polarized in a polarized relationship. Okay. Friends, you may never have experienced anything that I'm talking about until right now in your relationship. This potentially is the answer to why, oh, that's why we have conflict in this area. That's why I would really love for him to do this. I would really love for her to be this. Okay. Masculine doing, feminine being. I'm going to say it again. Masculine doing, feminine being. Now, how does that work when it comes to communication, our first pillar? Let's go deeper. Masculine polarized communication is giving. It directs from his where? His head. Okay. The masculine thrives in directive, logical, corrective, decisive, reassuring, confident, certain, unwavering, absolute. To the grounded, radiant, feminine, this language is otherworldly. To the feminine, she wants him to be all of these things when he's communicating. Okay. Now, there are a lot of misnomers about masculine and feminine polarity out there in the world. Okay. Notice, nothing on the masculine list says controlling. Did y'all hear me? Nothing on the list says controlling. Nothing on the list says narcissistic. Okay. It comes from a level of leadership. We're going to give some examples in just a moment on what that language looks like coming from the masculine. Now we look over on the feminine. The feminine communication is receptive, expresses from her what? Her body. Her body. She thrives. The feminine thrives when she's in her body. Okay. Rarely will you ever hear A masculine man said, I was just overthinking it. Right? He doesn't think that, right? It's when the feminine is in her directive, when she's overthinking, she's in her head when things may go south for her. Okay. There is an enormous amount of inverted polarity in most relationships. She, who would be identified, if she could really identify with her core energy, it would be feminine. She's exhausted. She's overwhelmed. She doesn't want to do another freaking thing. Anybody sound familiar? Ladies on the call, anybody exhausted? It's because you're spending far too much time in your masculine energy and probably communicating from your masculine. Whereas the feminine wants to be emotional, expressive, fluid, creative, radiant, flirtatious, nurturing, sensual, and confident. We're going to see who the fantastic students are on the call. Did you notice that there was, what just happened? That we have a common confidence on the list. Raise your hand if you would consider confidence as a sexy attribute in your partner. The hands went up before I finished the last word. Right? It is in both. Okay. Right. We won't get into confidence tonight. That's a big, huge conversation, but you get the point. Okay. And I'm going to pause there. Paige, do we have anything we need to, any questions, anything going on?
No questions, just some great shares.
Great shares?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Good time to pause and share some of those, or keep going?
We can keep going.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. All right. So next slide. Here we go. Here are some examples. Get your pens hot and ready, friends. Okay. Because, by the way, if you get onto this call tonight and then you jump off of this call, you take a few notes and you put that journal on the shelf and you never think about this again, okay, that would be sad. We want you to be able to take what we do tonight and implement, begin to make changes, begin to really seek out an understanding and change. Okay. So polarized communication, again, the masculine giving. He expresses things like, I want you. I want you to. I want. I will. I've got you. Paige just posted something so brilliant the other day about how the feminine receives the 4 words, I'll say the 4 words, I have got you, from her masculine partner. All right, all the identifying core feminine energy women on the call, raise your hand if you would feel so incredibly honored, cherished, and taken care of if you heard your man consistently say, I've got you. Yeah. Yep. He'll say, I'll be there. Consider it done. Here's what's going to happen. This is all very directive language. Now, what I will say is the feminine who is more in her masculine may hear these words and become defensive. You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me what to do. Okay. This comes from wounding, friends. Okay. Newsflash. Okay. Love you, and it's true. Okay. And there are reasons, as we identify them, there is wounding, there is trauma associated with the fact that when the feminine hears masculine language like, here's what's going to happen, okay, it's scary. It feels controlling, and I understand. Okay. But at the core, powerful, grounded, mature, elevated, awakened, masculine, this is how he is speaking most of the time. Okay. When the masculine tells the feminine, I want you, I will take you, here I come. Ladies, how's that feel? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you see my partner over here with that smile? Mm-hmm. So if I say, Paige, here I come. I'm coming to get you. Mm-hmm. You're mine. You're my woman. You're mine and I'm yours. Let's go. Okay. The feminine is receptive because when she hears, and by the way, when I say she and he tonight, okay, feminine energy and masculine energy, as I have before mentioned, are not necessarily tied to gender. So allow me some grace when I say he and she, okay? When she hears, when the feminine hears, I've got you, I'll be there, consider it done. Okay? I'm going to invite the feminine who are on the call to jot in the chat, type in the chat, or you can even mouth it right now. When you hear the masculine say, I've got you, I'll be there, consider it done, here's what's going to happen. How do you feel? How do you feel right now? How do you feel? I love it. Safe, melty, safe and at ease, honored, secure, soft. Mm-hmm. Okay, gentlemen, y'all paying attention? Okay. When we are dominant in our language, when we've got it, okay, it allows the feminine to rest in her security and her softness. She's honored, she feels secure, she feels safe. I'm reading safe and at ease. Melty, I love that, Maura. I love that. More melty, right? And admittedly, it makes me think of a grilled cheese sandwich. I guess I'm hungry. Anybody grilled cheese sandwich? Anybody like a grilled cheese sandwich? Yeah. Anyway, back to the lecture at hand. All right, where was I? Oh, see, I start thinking about cheese and I go off the rails. Receptive, expressive, dramatic. So here's how the feminine expresses communication. Did y'all hear me say that? Expresses communication. I feel blank. Help me understand. When I feel blank, I am blank. Thank you for blank. I would feel so honored. When I work out, I feel exhilarated. Quick example. If a feminine partner says, after arriving in a new town with her masculine partner, they're searching out places, perhaps, to work out. She simply says, hey, find me a place to work out. No, that's directive language. Instead, she expresses, when I work out, I feel exhilarated. And it's the responsibility of the masculine partner to know his woman so well that when he receives the expression of her emotion, he takes action. And what does he go do? Finds a place for her to work out. Now, you may be thinking, feminine on the call may be thinking, whoa, what if I don't like it? Yeah, we'll get there. Okay. But if I don't tell him specifically, he'll get it wrong. Yes, he might. This is called communication. Okay. Ideally, the masculine is learning and getting a PhD in his woman, knows her so well. And of course, this takes time. Here is the grace that comes in within your relationship, ladies and gentlemen, is that it has the space to make mistakes. Honor, build more trust, and make decisions moving forward. Okay. When the feminine is wrapped up in directive language, most of the time, she's exhausted. Okay. Gentlemen on the call, have you ever heard your feminine partner say, I don't want to decide. I don't want to understand and decide where we're going to go eat. I don't want to make the plans. I want you to do it. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm over it. Because my guess is she has been in directive language too long. So I will tell you, gentlemen on the call. Ladies, just plug your ears for a second. Okay. Trust me, gentlemen, when you begin to direct your feminine partner, you saw it in the chat, she will begin to soften. Okay. I'm often asked this question. So who goes first? Does the masculine partner start directing, or does the feminine partner start surrendering? Because I'm not going to do it unless they do it. That's called tit for tat. That's not an elevated, polarized, trauma-informed relationship. Okay. That's a contract. If I do, then you will. We're not interested in enabling contracts, ladies and gentlemen. We're interested in enabling covenantal relationships, which is what you're looking at right now on the screen. Okay. All right. This is polarized communication. So the greatest superpower the feminine has is the expression of her emotion. The grounded feminine power gets what she wants, not because she directs her masculine partner, but because she's confident in the expression of her emotions and feelings towards how she feels grounded and level and honored and taking care of her body. Okay. It takes two. It takes two to make a thing go right. Right? Type in the chat if you know where that comes from. It takes two to make a thing go right. Right? The same as here. Both are responsible. Let me just pause for a second. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. You're like, oh, no, tell me I was writing notes. No, too bad. Love you, too bad. All right, so this is, I think this is our, we have a story to tell. I have a story to tell. I don't think Paige knows about this. She's like, what are you going to tell? What are you going to tell? What are you going to tell? I'm going to give an example, a real life example of polarized masculine and feminine communication with David and Paige. It happened about 5 hours ago. Okay. I was preparing for this presentation, finishing up some slide work, and I had a particular picture that I had on the final slide. And you're all going to see that slide in a little while. You'll be like, ooh, what is it? Ooh. She was reviewing my slides because her intuition is powerful and I trust it. So she's reviewing the slides and she sends me a message. And she says something like, referring to the picture, I feel like I look like a boy in the picture. It doesn't represent the feminine essence that I am. Did she tell me what to do with the picture? No, I'm going to say it again. She said, I feel like I look like a boy and it doesn't represent my feminine essence. So I sent a message back and I said, I can see what you're saying. You are not a boy. You are my, and here comes the first curse word tonight, so hang on tight. I said this, I said, you are not a boy. You are my feminine fucking goddess. I will replace the picture. That is the conversation between masculine and feminine. She didn't say, don't show that picture. Directive language. Okay. She's in her masculine. I would have been in my masculine. Guess what happens when both are in their masculine? Conflict. Okay. Instead, she surrendered into her body and said, I feel like I look like a boy. Now, could I have fought it and said, you don't look like a boy, stop it? No, then I just destroyed the expression of her emotion. I told her she was wrong. Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, the feminine emotion is never wrong. That's right, I said it. It's never wrong, ever. Okay. Now, how it's expressed and all of the nuances there, okay? Her intuition is always spot on, always. Now, gentlemen, what we do with the expression of that emotion, that's a whole nother conversation, okay? Building into this, okay? So that gives you an idea. Ladies, feminine, I feel this when this. Gentlemen, you take action. Specific. Laser focused action. And again, can we make a mistake? Yes. Sometimes Paige expresses emotion, a feeling.
He left us hanging there. Can you hear me, David? We cannot hear you any longer. It was getting so good. You left us on the edge. Your picture is frozen and we have no audio.
Am I back?
You're back.
We got the technological gremlins tonight. All right. Did I leave you hanging? How'd I end? Did I end on a good note? Did I drop a mic?
It was a mic drop moment.
Okay. I don't recall what I was saying, but I think we have the point. Yeah? All right.
Yes.
Cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's polarized communication. That is pillar number 1. Okay. Who's ready for number 2? Who's ready? Who's ready? Stay with me. All right, cool. I like that, James. What's up? I feel like hairband from the 80s. Let's rock on. What's up, Rat? What's up, Poison? All right. Here we go. Number 2, boundaried independence. Or I'm sorry, boundaried interdependence. Boundaried interdependence. It's an important distinction. Boundaried interdependence. There's a couple of big words. This is what it means. The first expression, illustration, if you will, is what we refer to as codependency and enmeshment. This is how most relationships end up in, where there is very little separation, very little interdependence between partners. Okay. This is codependence and enmeshment. Evidence of this is trauma bonded. Okay, let me explain that for just a moment. Okay, often relationships come together because of certain experiences that partners have experienced separately, and now you've experienced them together and you have something to talk about. We both come from divorce. We both lived here. We both lived, whatever the case may be, right? And oftentimes, and we work with our clients in this way, right, is to separate those trauma bonds. Okay. If you find yourself talking about the things that are very troublesome, wounding and trauma, okay, there's probably some trauma bonding going on inside. And it can feel like you're sharing. Look, we're sharing these experiences. Okay. And in reality, it's codependence and enmeshment. In this type of relationship, which is not boundaried interdependence, it's codependence and enmeshment, is we tend to want to fix one another. Okay. You're uncomfortable being apart. When one of you is mad, the other one gets mad, simply because of the energetic exchange and not remaining grounded and boundaried in your own energy and presence. And here's a good one. Hang on tight. You have grown to call each other husband, wife, boyfriend, partner, and not use each other's first names. That's why I apologized to Maura about her name, because it's her name. Her name must be used. It's her interdependence. We often say this, and it's said all the time. My husband, my wife, okay? Be careful with that, okay? Especially with people who know you. Use their first name. It gives them a sense of identity. It's interdependence. And we tend to be in these codependent and enmeshments, okay? Attachment. Anybody familiar with attachment theory? Anybody read the books? Yeah, okay. I will tell you that completely honor and respect those authors. We here at Daring Deeply see a different perspective. We don't believe in any type of attachment, okay? And then when we put labels on ourselves, anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, secure attachment, we put yet another label on ourselves to keep us from being who we are, okay? But we tend to be attached and meshed with our partner. Whereas what we here at Daring Deeply, we want to teach and coach, and we do teach and coach, is the second pillar is boundary interdependence, which is trauma informed. You understand that each other has their stuff. Pain, loss, trauma. By the way, I'll pause here a second. Every person on this call has trauma. You do. You do. Let's just cut the crap, okay? You have trauma. We have big T trauma. We have little t trauma. Everybody has trauma, okay? Trauma is simply a dysregulation of the nervous system, okay? And nobody's trauma is worse than anybody else's. So you have it. And if you notice, the definition of the relationship at the top of the call is the support of one another's healing of the trauma. So you're trauma informed. You know each other's stories. You don't enmesh with them. You don't trauma bond over them, but you understand them. Okay? You are supporting. You're not fixing. You love your alone time. Raise your hand, partners. Anybody love their alone time? Come on now. Yep. It's important. It's critical. Some of you may be thinking, yeah, I'd like to be alone all the damn time. Okay, that's another story. Okay, that's another story. When someone is mad, the other remains grounded and regulated because they're not allowing the negative, the traumatized, the wounded energy to afflict them and bring everybody down. Raise your hand if you've experienced mad. I'm mad, they're mad, everybody mad. I experienced this growing up. I experienced this. I had a father who I never knew how he was going to show up, but his mood became everybody else's. Anybody relate? Anybody relate? Okay. Yeah. Paige and I use each other's first names when we're talking to each other. Often. It reminds me that Paige came long before I came. She knows who she is. She is Paige. Oh, and she happens to be my fiance. Okay. But she is Paige first. And by the way, when she says, David, I love you. Oh, when I hear that, because I know she's only speaking to who? Me. Okay. And the word want versus need. Boundaried interdependence. We're looking for the two rings to be overlapping just a bit. You can put this in your notes too, friends. Okay. I was on a call earlier today, and I said to her, she said, David, I'm interested in you helping fix my marriage. And I said, there's no such thing as a marriage. And she did what some of you are doing right now. Like, huh? What? What is that? Right? What is a relationship? What is a partnership? What is a marriage? Right? It's two people who choose one another every morning. That's the second diagram. Okay. I choose Paige every single morning. It's a day-by-day lease. That's right. Day-by-day lease. Because it forces me. It forces me to choose her. And when I choose her every day, guess how that allows her to feel? She is chosen. Ladies, raise your hand if you want to be chosen by your partner, whether you have a partner right now or not. Hell yeah. Type in the chat real quick how you like to be chosen. How do you know you're chosen? What does chosen mean for you? Just throw some things into the chat. When your partner or you wish your future partner would choose you, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Makes me feel safe every single day. What does being chosen feel like? Great. All right. This is boundaried interdependence. All right. Number three, commitment to growth. Commitment to growth. All right. So many of you may have committed to a lot of things in your partnership, in your relationship, in your marriage, in your whatever you call it. You may have committed to some of these. Till death do us part. Anybody commit to that one? Anybody? Nobody has ever committed to death do us part. Nobody ever had that marriage vow? Okay, I'm like, wait, am I, what? Okay, you may have committed to death do you part. How did that work? Okay, I'm just saying, okay. You may have committed to make you happy. You may have committed to great sex. It's a great thing to commit to. Communicate effectively, sickness and in health, love you unconditionally, help you fix your problems. Without you, my life has no meaning. Okay. From today onward, you and I will be one in heart, body, and mind. These all may sound really nice, but the reality is none of this is worth committing to. I'm going to let that sink in again. None of that is worth committing to. This, friends, write this down. Those of you that on the call who are interested and may have in your future to renew vows or to recite vows to one another for the first time. Okay. Or you have a future partner perhaps ahead of you, for you, and you're thinking about exchanging vows. I would highly, highly, highly challenge and encourage you that this is the only vow to ever speak to your partner moving forward. Because it's within and under this commitment that everything else matters. To say to your partner, I vow to consistently heal, grow, and transform. And that's all. That's it. Notice, it doesn't say, I vow to consistently heal, grow, and transform. If you do. Nope. Doesn't say that. Does it say that? Okay. I'm making sure it didn't say that. Okay. It's not tit for tat, friends. Okay. I'm going to have everybody in the call get your pointer finger ready. Get your pointer finger ready. Who are you responsible for? That's right. Yep. You and only you. Which brings me to the next slide. But David and Paige, what if I'm committed and committing and working on myself, but my husband won't, or my wife won't, or my partner won't? This is probably the number one question we get asked. But what about them? I'm doing it. I got to get them to do it. Raise your hand if you've ever gotten somebody to do something over a long-term basis. Right. We want to because we love them. And we want them to journey with us. And we want to be on the same pathway. But I will say this now, and I'll say it another million times between now and the time I am no longer here, is you cannot make anyone do anything. You can try, you can nag them, you can control them, you can manipulate them, you can suggest to them, you can push the pamphlet across the kitchen table. Say, babe, we should go to a marriage conference. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The reality is only you can work on you. Only you are responsible for your own growth, healing, and transformation. So we answered the question, who are you responsible for? How do we do this? Okay. Regardless, and I love, I so appreciate the fact that we have couples on the call, but know right now, okay, your responsibility is only to you, okay, regardless of what the other individual does or doesn't do. I was on another call of a prospective client who came to me and said, I want to get on a call with you and see what this means. And she said very vulnerably today on the call, she goes, I know if I commit to doing this work, that doesn't necessarily mean that my marriage of 17 years will make it. I applauded her for being real. I applauded her for being vulnerable. Now, is that necessarily true? Not necessarily, but she has come to an understanding that she comes first, whether he does or not. Powerful. Okay. So how do we do this? We commit to your own trauma healing. That's right. Like I said, friends, I got trauma, you got trauma, we got trauma. Okay. This is what Paige and I specialize in, is helping you process and release trapped trauma. Invest in a trauma-informed professional support system. Okay. Know the root cause of your behaviors, responses, and patterns. There's a reason why there are patterns. This is why when we complete one relationship and we take the same crap and go into the next relationship and we wonder why it goes south. Because we're not healing it in the first place. Okay. Now, does that mean that you heal all your stuff before you get into the next relationship? No, no, and no. Okay. In fact, the container in which the most grounded, powerful trauma healing happens is inside of a relationship. Because you have a natural support system. Remember, definition of a relationship? You have that natural support system that says, I am here to help support you in your trauma healing. Get real, no more BS. Come on. Right. Set and maintain boundaries that protect your autonomous growth. That no matter what, you're going to continue on this pathway to figure it out. And potentially it is to ask questions of David and Paige, like, how do we even do this? Let's have a conversation. Great. Okay. But to set the boundaries and say, I'm doing this whether you're doing it or not. This is hard. This is really hard. The reality is, friends, most couples, most relationships revert back to the person who's not willing to grow, heal, and transform. Okay. Because it's really, really, really hard work. Okay. Which goes to the next bullet point. Avoid telling, shaming, suggesting, nagging, hinting, or manipulating your partner to do the same. Stop it. Don't do it anymore. Stop, 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 stop. It's not working. Have you noticed? It's not working. Because they must make the decision for themselves to do anything anyway. And then commit to the long-term growth. Celebrate your wins. We take our celebration here at Daring Deeply Coaching very seriously. When someone steps forward, and we have some of our current clients on this call right now. Okay. When we see growth, I see smiles. That's cool. When we see growth within our clients who take a step forward, oftentimes they're like, yeah, so then I did this. I'm like, whoa. What did you just say? What did you just do? What did you just commit to? What result did you just see and feel for the first time in your 40 years? Are you kidding? We're going to stop and celebrate that. Now, they may be thinking, oh, it's no big deal. Oh, it's a big effing deal. It's a big deal. This work is freaking hard. Okay. We have a great gaggle of folks on this call. Okay. But I got news for you. There are 8 billion people on this planet who aren't on the call. Okay. You know that this work is hard and that it's rare. So commit to that. Celebrate that right now, friends. Okay. Commit to the long-term growth. We often get folks who come to us and say, we need help. And they get incredibly frustrated because they're not healing fast enough. Okay. Healing, growth, and transformation takes time. And boy, do Paige and I wish that we had the magic wand and we could just wipe it across and say, done, healed. Right? Like the 80s televangelists, healed. And if I just offended anybody on the call, send me a letter later. Okay. We wish we could do that. But the truth is, if you've recognized these negative patterns in you that is affecting your relationship, and you know you need to commit to growth, and those patterns have been lasting 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, okay, it's going to take some time to understand, heal, grow, and move forward. Okay. All right. And last but not least, we call it compassionate curiosity. Pillar number 4, compassionate curiosity. We're almost there. You're doing great, folks. You're doing great. All right. So this is grounded on one of Daring Deeply's 10 guidelines of engagement. It's kind of like our 10 commandments. Okay. And it reads, be curious before critical. Be curious before critical. Which means, I think when my partner pisses me off, I wonder if I could breathe, take a moment, pause, and go, I wonder why they're coming from there. I wonder what makes them think that. I wonder what their experience is. As opposed to, what? Right? To be curious before critical. Imagine if the world lived in curiosity before criticism. Imagine if social media was dictated by curiosity before criticism. What do you mean you believe that? What do you mean you voted for that person? What do you mean? What do you mean? You're an idiot. Instead, we said something like, tell me more, help me understand. Ask questions far more than make statements. First, friends, with yourself. Raise your hand if you suffer from self-criticism. Anybody? Anybody tell yourself that I'm not good enough, not pretty enough, not strong enough, not rich enough, not thin enough. And I'm always going to be this way. Okay. Which is BS, by the way. Okay. All of this is language toward yourself first, and then, of course, to your partner. Ask questions far more than make statements. So when you're in the heat of potential conflict, breathe, stop, pause. Which, by the way, moment here, this is coming over me discernedly, so I'm going to say it. Gentlemen on the call, those who are here live and who may be watching later on a replay, gentlemen, it's our responsibility to lead the resolution of conflict. It's not the feminine partner's responsibility to come chasing after us, to apologize, to seek resolution. It is our responsibility. Even if we think it's not our fault, this is how you lead. You do not lead your relationship by walking out the door in the middle of conflict. And believe me, friends, I've spent most of my life doing that shit. It doesn't work. Okay? It doesn't. Evidence of the strong, powerful, grounded masculine is that he remains in the tension. It's hard. Gentlemen, if you're looking back at me right now and you're like, just hit a nerve, brother. That's okay. I hit lots of nerves. I'm hitting a nerve inside of me right now because this is where I spent most of my years. Remain in the tension and ask your feminine partner and tell your feminine partner, I am angry with you right now and I'm staying. Your feminine partner will be like, what? I'm reassured. He's not leaving. He's not abandoning me. He's not going to walk out the door and never come back. Remain in the tension. This is how we help our clients, is to figure out how you do that. It doesn't just happen overnight. Trust me. Trust me. I still struggle with this. Ask Paige. Right? I have it deep inside of me. I have parts who will scream and yell and tell me to get the hell out the house because I don't want to be there. But what I've come to understand is when I remain, I'm leading my woman to tell her and to share with her that I've got her. I've got you. Even when I'm pissed, I've got you. Ask questions of the self and your partner with a genuine desire to understand. Ask questions and then remain, friends, to hear them. Okay? Just because you ask a great question and then you stomp all over them because you can't wait to talk. Okay? We want to be better than that. This is some of the language that we can use, what we call curiosity language. Tell me more. Open to share why. What persuaded you to choose blank? What does that mean to you? Which would you prefer? Where did you experience this? How can I support you right now? And what do you need from me? Okay, pause here for a second. I want you to highlight, I want you to bold, I want you to write those two down specifically, the last two. How can I support you right now? And what do you need from me? Friends, if you just master those two in how you talk to yourself and how you talk to your partner, you will be winning. That's right. As Charlie Sheen once said, winning. How can I support you right now? And what do you need from me? When Paige says to me, how can I support you right now? A lot of the time, this is what I say, and she'll tell you this. You're doing it right now by asking me, how can I support you right now? I say this often to Paige. What do you need from me right now? What do you need from me right now? Right now. A lot of the time, it's a touch for her. It's a hug. It's a moment. It's to hold space, as we say, for her. Because she is in her radiant, powerful, fluid femininity. And those expressions of emotion are flying, yo. And she simply needs my strength, my power, my masculine to hold space. So be curious before critical. That's number 4. All right. So as we begin to wrap up our content, we're going to get into some Q&A in just a moment here, friends, and address some of these comments and questions. Notice that the pillars did not include great sex, physical attraction, common interests. The 4 pillars, or pillars that you maybe think, yeah, this is what makes a great relationship. You may have noticed that it didn't include any of that. Okay? But when you, not if, did you hear that? Okay, that's called presumptive language. I said when you, not if you, when you begin to implement the 4 pillars, you will begin experiencing the results of this. Adventure, playfulness, otherworldly sex. Who's up for otherworldly sex? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. I just checking, making sure you're still here. Okay. Emotional safety, RESPECT. Self-confidence, trust, deep attraction, empathy and compassion, teamwork, and elevated conversations. Raise your hand if you want any or all of this on this list. When you begin to implement, and believe me, the 4 pillars are not here just to go, okay, check, next. Got the first one down, woohoo, yeah. All the dudes on the call are like, yeah, man, that's what I'm doing. I'm just checking it off. Next, come on, project. right? And the feminine on the call right now who are deeply in your masculine all the time are like, yep, give me a checklist any day of the week. This doesn't happen overnight, right? And those individuals on the call who are current clients of David and Paige, you will probably relate to that very thing. This doesn't happen overnight. Is it worth it? Absolutely. How do I know? Pop quiz. See if you can guess. Who is the very first Daring Deeply client? Have any idea? Some of you are like, why in the world would I know that? Why? I just met you tonight. He's on the call. Me. Why do I do this work, friends? Because I need it. Right? Because I want all this. I want to follow the 4 pillars. Right? Because guess what? Now that I've taught it, now that we coach it, guess what? Guess who has to follow it? That's right, me. Yeah, because I have a partner who's like, we hold each other accountable. Right? Why do we teach and coach this? Because I need it. So if you're interested in this list, adventure, playfulness, respect, etc., begin to implement the 4 pillars. Okay. And we can show you how to do that. Okay. All right. So how are we doing on time, Paigey? Okay.
8:16.
8:16. All right, cool. All right. It's time for some Q&A. Those of you who know the character up on the screen, I appreciate you. Okay. Those of you are like, I have no idea who that dude is. That's okay. Cool. You can Google it. Take a picture and Google it. It's fine. A very famous TV character who was famous for asking questions. So here is the deal. Here's how we handle Q&A here at Daring Deeply on these masterclass calls. We're going to have everyone who's on the call. Everyone who's on the call. That's right. I said everyone, even if I can't see your face. Okay. Everyone on the call to take 1 minute and write down a question. You may write 3 questions down in 1 minute. I don't know. But everybody's going to take 1 minute and write down a question. Doesn't mean you're going to ask it to us, okay? But we want everybody to take a moment and write down a question. And then if you do have a question, raise your hand for David and Paige to address. Okay? And this is how that Q&A session will begin. I will call on you and you will say, my question is. Okay? We love stories here at Daring Deeply. We love them. We love stories. We've told a couple tonight. Okay? But to honor everyone's time, okay? Because oftentimes when we ask a question, we're like, okay, so here's the deal. Once upon a time, my parents got together. It was a dark and stormy night. They had sex, and 10 months later, I came out. And then, okay, love you, and we want to honor everybody's time. So I have a question. So we're going to take 1 minute starting now. All right. Okay, that's a minute. Feels like a minute. Let's go with a minute. All right. Who has a question? Who has a question? Stephanie has a question. I see her hand up. Stephanie, you can come off a mute if you're still there.
Yes.
Fantastic. What is your question?
How do you know if you're masculine or feminine? I mean, I know you explained it a little bit, but
Fantastic question. And thank you for following our framework. That was beautiful. Do you see what she did, friends? She just said, there's my question. Fantastic. Okay. So she said, to repeat, in case some of you did not hear it, is how do you know if you're masculine or feminine? It is a fantastic question, and one in which we take our clients through a pretty extensive understanding, a little bit of a, if you will, a little bit of a process, a little bit of a formula, a little bit of a quiz to truly understand that. Okay. But the simple answer to that is, and we can provide you, Stephanie, I'd be more than happy to provide you some basic labels, titles, words, phrases that will resonate more with you than others. Okay. And we won't even produce what it, if it's masculine or feminine, is for you to naturally answer to what you would gravitate toward, what your core energy. And remember, friends, from the top of the call, everybody has masculine, everybody has feminine energy. Okay. But what are you most connected to? Your core energy. Okay. So we can certainly provide that for you, Stephanie. We've got some slides that we can send over. Paige, did you want to expand on that? Any? No?
No real expansion. I
Okay.
feel inspired to create a quiz that we can just
Absolutely.
send a link in the future.
Anybody else?
So
Anybody else want that?
individuals can identify their core energy.
Cool. Fantastic. Love it. It's a great question, Stephanie. And we will certainly follow up with you on that. Okay. Who's next? Question. Who has a question? Anyone? By the way, when it comes, David, did you raise your finger? Did I say? Go ahead, buddy.
So my question is, how do you help your feminine partner release her masculine energy coming from a very masculine workspace?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if, you know, verbiage is always important, of course, but how do you help them release that without conflict?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so difficult, because what we were talking about earlier is, oh my gosh, if they're in their masculine most of the time and they need to, which by the way, ladies on the call, you absolutely need to step into your healed masculine, your inner healed masculine. That's right. I said inner healed masculine inside of you to get shit done. Okay. To lead yourself, to care for yourself. Okay. This is the essence of the feminine, is self-care, by the way. Okay. So of course there can be, there's going to be conflict, right? If she's most of the time leading, directive, corrective energy, and then you come in and say, I'm going to now direct you. I'm going to now lead you, right? Is anybody relating to this? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Your question is not, it's very common, David. What I'll say first is the conversation needs to happen at the top to say, this is what's going on. We often say at Daring Deeply, we need to speak the unspoken. So if you get off this call and your partner is not on the call and you go start being more masculine or being more feminine, and they're like, what? Who the hell are you? Where did aliens come and disembody you? Where did you go? Okay. Yeah, but I was just on this call and David said this and Paige said this. I mean, okay. We need to speak the unspoken, which is, hey, by the way, masculine communication, babe, if you're talking to your feminine partner, David, right, is I want to be able to provide safety, security, relaxation, rest, radiance, feminine for you. And what I'm learning is when my language is more directive, when my language is more leading, when my language is more certain, when I'm taking the dominant role in my communication, I want that to be a signal for you to surrender, to simply allow me, give me the space to love and honor and direct and correct and lead you. Now, she may be like, Excuse me? What? Again, this doesn't happen overnight, right? But if we explain what's not being said, super, super, super important. And we can provide, in fact, you're coming to the men's retreat here in a couple of weeks, and we will specifically be talking about this. So you're going to be David's going to come to our men's retreat that's happening in a few weeks. We'll provide you all of that necessary language to begin to move forward. But in the immediacy here is to explain, right? And you'll get a recording of this, so you can certainly present it to your feminine partner and say, hey, this is what's going on. I want to be better for you. Did y'all hear that, by the way? What I just say? I want to be better for you. Who do you want to be better for first? Yeah, but I want to be better for you. If I could shout from the rooftops to every masculine person on this planet to say that to your feminine, I want to be better for you. Hello. We'd have a bunch of babies in about 10 months for those of us that still have babies. Okay. All right. So begin there, David. I could go on and on and on and on and on, but make sure that you're explaining the process first and say, hey, I want to provide it. I want to be better for you. Therefore, it may feel very obtuse and very weird, but I want to be able to do this for you. See how this feels. Okay. Make sense?
Mhm.
Helpful?
Yep. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. All right. Yeah. Maura.
My question is, if we're unpartnered, are these 4 pillars okay to practice with masculine friends or the
Absolutely.
opposite friends?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a fantastic question. Yeah, absolutely. Again, if the person or persons are not on this call, if they're not following David and Paige on social media, first of all, get them to. Thank you. Second of all, it's like, hey, this is what I'm learning. Would you practice with me? Would you? Okay. So masculine and feminine energy is not solely for romantic partnerships. And you'll realize this as you begin to implement masculine and feminine communication, right? And all the pillars, actually, with other people of other energies. You're like, wow, that's very interesting. Now, I know that some of you may be thinking, okay, how do I, as a feminine woman, do this at work? Uh-oh, I'm leading people. Do I stop leading people? Do I stop giving orders? What do I do? Okay. We can certainly have private conversations, offline conversations about that specificity, and we have ways in which to understand that. But the answer to the question is absolutely yes. Yeah. And share with them, like, hey, I'm practicing this. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. The number one question I will tell you more, and you've probably seen a lot of this on social media, and if you're following me on TikTok and Instagram, is the number one question that I get from women when I begin to speak like this is they say, how do I get that man? Where is he? I don't know anybody like that. What are you talking about? A masculine man who's doing all this kind of thing. So what they're doing is they're trying to find one. They're trying to take directive masculine energy and try to find a man. Y'all see that? How obtuse that is, right? It's like, I'm going to go find a man. Okay. A grounded masculine man isn't looking for a feminine who's looking for him. Do y'all hear that? Okay. She is simply being and growing and deepening in her feminine energy. That will draw a masculine man to her energy level. She will turn around and there'll be 10 of them. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, okay? But it's not Maura's responsibility to go now and find a man who's doing all this, because she can only be responsible for her. Yep. Helpful? Good? Okay. Awesome. Let's see. We're nearing time. Let's take one more. Jake or Jen?
It's Jen.
Hi.
Hey, Jen.
My question is, how can I remain feminine when I've expressed in my feelings emptiness or unmet needs, and that doesn't prompt him to step into his masculine energy to respond with a polarizing response?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, if I'm not mistaken, because I think I just heard a deeper voice. Jake, you're on the
Yeah,
call,
that's
right?
Jake. Yeah, that,
I'm here.
Okay. So, Jake, let's workshop this for a second. And by the way, friends, I want to honor everybody's time. Okay. So it is 8:29. If you need to jump off, okay, we totally understand. We're not going to be like, they jumped off early, make a mark, they fail. Okay. No. Okay. We want to honor your time. But if you want to remain on the call and hear the answers to these questions, I would highly, highly, highly recommend, and we'd love to have you on. So Jake, when you hear your wife say that, I'm curious to know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question. And I mean, the answer is obvious, but difficult, I think, because the answer is to step up and start meeting those needs, and start identifying those. So for me, it's difficult to hear that, because obviously the shortcomings on my part for her to have those unmet needs being expressed, and then me not stepping into that masculine to address those needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for being so vulnerable, both of you. It really takes a lot of bravery to come on and hear that. Because I know the men that are on the call right now are like, man, that's tough. Oh, being called out is really, really, really hard. So, and Jen, thank you for being bold and speaking up.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I just
You're-
don't know, because
yeah.
I appreciate his vulnerability. I just don't know how to remain feminine when
Yeah.
that happens.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So let me provide a little bit of perspective, certainly from Jake's perspective or the masculine perspective. One of the core masculine wounding, men and women on the call right now, one of the core masculine wounding that prevents him from leading his woman is rejection. Because once upon a time, or many times, he was rejected. From the time he was 12, 5, 17, 25, 35, whatever. Okay. Now, is that the feminine's responsibility to never reject her masculine partner? No, it's his shit to heal. Okay. It's his wounding to understand. But there's reasons. There are reasons behind every single behavior, and we help our clients understand what those reasons are in those behaviors and connect them and begin to heal those unprocessed traumas. But the reason why Jake may not be responding to Jen and the expression of her feelings in her desires and wants is because he's terrified of what? That it's not good enough. Nope, it's not what I wanted. You failed again. You didn't show up. So guess what? The greatest sin, if you will, of the masculine is passivity. He doesn't do shit. But now we know why. Because he's terrified of making a mistake. Because ladies on the call, and gentlemen, if you're here, you'll be able to relate to this. We want to give you everything in this world. I want to give Paige the world. By the way, you never hear a woman say to a man, I want to give you the moon, babe. You never hear that. Never happens. But we want to give our feminine partners everything. We're terrified because we don't know how. Because we may have tried that before and it was rejected. This is most especially true in the bedroom. We don't have time to get into that tonight. But when the masculine man is rejected in the bedroom, look out. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation. If you're interested in knowing more about that, we can talk later. But the reason why Jake may be hesitant in leading Jen is he's scared to make a mistake. And Jen's like, I don't know if this is true or not, Jen, but Jen may be thinking, just do something. I don't care if you make a mistake.
I've heard that too many times.
Did we get an aha? Did we nail something? Yeah. So the solution is this. Jake, the only thing that I will charge you, and Jake and Jen were on our call last month, and I even made a challenge to Jake and Jen. And so my challenge to you in this call too, Jake, is to begin to make decisions and build the trust in those decisions for your wife, okay, regardless of her response. Okay. Because what's not working, Jake, is not making the decisions. So make the decisions, be prepared to know that it may not be precisely what she wants, and that's okay. But you're making a decision, and that is your core masculine energy. Cool? Helpful?
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Keep coming to classes, y'all. Keep coming to classes. All right. Okay. I think we're going to pause there. I know you have other questions, friends, and we are more than happy to take them offline. And we're going to give you some ways in which to contact us and whatnot. But we do have a few more things we want to. So hang tight here with us. Hang tight here. Some of you, most especially, maybe curious to know, what's next potentially for me? So ladies, so gentlemen, hang tight, hang tight, hang tight. Everybody hang tight. But ladies, we have a very, very powerful invitation to extend to you. Okay. Paige Stuart, my wonderful bride-to-be, sitting right there. Okay. Yes, that's her. Then a terrific picture. Holy cow. And guys, it's okay to say it's a terrific picture. Okay. Because she's going to bed with me. She ain't going to bed with you. Okay. One hot mama. All right. Paige leads a program called Surrender, Becoming One with the Feminine Body. So ladies, if you're on the call and you're thinking, okay, I can't figure out the masculine, but I can take care of me, this is where you need to be. Okay. It is a 10-week program. It is actually going on right now. Okay. And we have amazing ladies in that, one of which is on this call right now. But the new cohort, the new sessions begin October 11th. Okay. And you'll see at the bottom of the page there what Paige goes through. Ladies, if you're interested in knowing more about feminine energy, about sensuality, about surrender, about style. Oh, now we're getting into all the feminine, okay? To really embody who you are as a feminine being. This is the place for you, okay? So if you want information, by the way, you'll all get follow-up emails, okay, after this call. So if you're interested in knowing more about surrender, please, 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 you can schedule a call and get on a call with Paige and find out more information about this. Or if you're interested in like, yeah, this is really interesting. I want to know more and I want to do this. I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to have Chrissy Kennison. Chrissy is here. I'm going to have you say, we're behind time. Chrissy, thank you so much. Chrissy is one of our amazing Daring Deeply clients. She is actually in the middle of this program with Paige. Would you just like give us 2 sentences, 3 sentences real quick to help the ladies on the call and say, this is, I know, I just put a boundary around you and said, only 2 or 3 sentences, really, David? But please, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a 30-minute testimonial prepared, but it's fine. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, this program, I'm only 3 modules in, and I honestly can't believe how much I have learned that is so different from anything that we've been told as women that we're supposed to do, to be wanted and to be cool. We're supposed to be one of the guys. We're supposed to be driven. We're supposed to be boss babes and hustle. But as I'm learning to surrender to my feminine self, I'm actually learning like how incredibly powerful that is. And I feel more powerful, and it feels so uncomfortable because it's so foreign and yet completely aligned and like everything my body, mind, and spirit has been craving forever. And I'm watching it change my husband, who is not doing this work. Yet he is stepping into his leadership in ways I've never seen him do, simply because I'm surrendering into what I'm created to do in my feminine space. Mm-hmm. And Paige gives you so much of the how that you're like dying for right now, I bet, after the last hour and a half, like breaking down so many ways for us to learn how to step into our feminine, because we don't know how to do that. We've never been told how. So it's just, that was way more than 2 or 3 sentences, but it's so, so powerful and healing and transformative. Cannot recommend it enough.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you, Chrissy. Really quick, Paige, anything that you want to add to that, since you are the brain wonder behind this?
Thank you. First of all, Chrissy, I really appreciate all of those words. And that was a really beautiful surprise gift to receive. I did not know that was happening. I am just overwhelmed with this program. It's got my heart and soul in it. Tomorrow, the current group of women are going to gain access to module 4, which is where we dive into sexuality. And so I've been putting all the finishing touches on that particular module, and it's just got me really excited for bringing this program forth and then starting this next round of women October 11th. So if you have any questions about this or would love some more information, I'm happy to jump on a call with you and to provide those details for you. We would love to have you.
Fantastic. Cool. Awesome. I'm telling you, if I was a woman, I'd be taking this program. I would be. Right. Oh, by the way, ladies, if you're interested in this, you'll also get masculine perspective from me. So I drop in a couple of videos within each module to provide that masculine perspective from us in understanding how powerful it is for the feminine to be in her energy that is so beautiful and radiant. Guys, I didn't forget about you. The aforementioned, we are leading a men's retreat coming up in just a few weeks. So if you're interested in that and learning how to lead your woman and learning how to lead you to try to finally come to grips with understanding some past pains and traumas and really healing those and becoming the masculine that you've always desired to lead your woman, please. Like I said, we're going to be sending some emails and you can reach out to me. You can find me all over the place. You can find us all over the place. Obviously you found us because you're here. So there is an opportunity for men to come together. David, is he still on the call? Is David still on the call? I don't know.
He jumped off.
He jumped off. So David's coming, I know, in a couple of weeks. So there's still some space available. So if you're interested in knowing more about that opportunity, we also lead retreats for men, women, and couples. So if you're interested in any of those opportunities, we're more than happy to discuss those with you, and you can find us all over. So I think that's about it. And there's the big thank you. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see everyone's handsome and beautiful faces before we depart. Thank you so much, especially for all of you new folks. We really appreciate you jumping on the call, and all of you folks who have been with us forever. We love seeing you as well. Again, if you want information about how we serve and support and coach and teach our clients specifically, let us know that. And, we'll be reaching out to you via email because you registered for this, and we'll see you next month. We're going to have another masterclass, another free masterclass. And of course, I can't remember what we're doing in a month. I don't know what the title is. It's going to be amazing. I don't know what it is. There you go. Totally unprepared for that. That's the way it goes. But anyway, the rest of you have a very good night. We're so grateful for you. Thank you. And I have to say a special thank you to my bride-to-be. Thank you, Paige. I love you, baby. Thanks for leading this with us and with me and for us to change the world. So I bid you all good night and good evening. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.